Okay, so we start in real earnest today. Yesterday, till now, it was all trying to know each other, getting to know the place and all that. Actually, the idea of this fellowship occurred to me way back in 2017, 16, 17, in which I decided that only one fellow from SEPT, because that was my alma mater, and two fellows from the Kolhapur colleges would be selected. So and the fellowship that time lasted for 6 to 9 months, because as per the rules were the same, that they are not supposed to work anywhere, not supposed to do anything. They could travel, they could read, they could write, they could make a film or whatever. So this money that time, it was about, that time I used to pay them about 1 lakh to 1,30,000 each to do nothing, which is what you are here for also, to do nothing basically, to take a pause. So meaning the fellowship was offering them time and pause when they could introspect, understand their deeper values and hear their heart's true calling. So after 5 hectic years of architectural studies. So I felt that you all and they would need a break. So during this time they would constantly interact with me, but through mails or in person. They would come and stay at my house for a day, a couple of days, 2-3 days, and we would interact. So it was 1-to-1, but sometimes the 2 or 3 fellows would come together. So around 8-9 fellows have completed their fellowship till now, and then COVID-19 struck, and then 2 or 3 did after the COVID also. So last 2 or 3 years it was dormant, nothing was happening. That's when I started thinking of another way in which this fellowship could be conducted. We decided to open it to the entire student fraternity in the country, in India, and conduct it with 2 intensely interactive 1-week-long workshops within a period of 3.5 months. This interaction now would not only be with me, but with each other, with some more people and amongst yourself. During these 3.5 months, you can also interact on mail and phone me if you feel like, if you want. While talking to you now, I recall my student days at SEPT over 50 years ago. I joined SEPT in 1967. Ours was a 12th semester course, so 6 years that time, and we joined after 11th SSC. So it works out to more or less the same thing. You join after 12th, and it's for 5 years. So
none of us were born. None of us.
Yeah, none of you were born. You are like my kids. Yeah, they are like my grandchildren. Yeah. I was just telling them. So passed out in 73, 74. Finished my thesis in 73, that is 6 years after. So first year in SEPT, most of these pictures which I show you are more from first year, where it was all getting out of the house and then all fun and then partying, and then that was the time of the flower children, the Beatles. The Beatles were a great craze that time, and we were all into it, you'll see here. So that was first year. Second year, I read The Fountainhead. And suddenly, the whole entire thing, have you read? You have read? Only you? None of you have read? So you wouldn't know what Fountainhead is. Fountainhead is a book by a writer called Ayn Rand, and it is about an architect's life. But it is too hyped up. I mean, but one gets overcome by that, when you read it. So that I was overcome, and then I would be a little isolated, this, that, and all that. Third year was a little turmoil, a lot of restlessness, and which we would come to. So that's me sitting on the table and working. I hardly slept in the hostel room. We used to, we had these big size boards. We used to join, and I would work till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then lie down here. This is Doshi's building, the SEPT inside studio. And we would sleep here. I would have my toothbrush in the drawer. So I would, in the morning, the sweeper would wake me up. I would go to the thing, brush my teeth, and sit for the morning structure class or professional practice class. And that in first year we built this maze. We designed it and we built it. One design was chosen from our this thing. That's me there. And that's me up there, out there.
So you were part of the rock band?
Just like that, yeah. Not much. That's us on a hike picnic. And this was during the annual day. That's me there, here. At that time, we sang that American song, "This land is my land, this land is your land, from California to the New York Island," like that. That was, anyway. So this was it, and so in third year itself, I underwent a deep mental, not exactly a crisis, but lots of restlessness, with so many questions were crowding inside my brain and heart. Like, why is one alive? What is the purpose of one's life? What are values? What is the purpose of one? Are they relative or finite? Are they relative or absolute? So I started writing. I started reading a lot of Western philosophy. Right from Plato, Aristotle to Kierkegaard and Kant and to Jean-Paul Sartre. So I made those notes. Those notes are still with me. It could have become a book also, like whether values are relative or absolute. It's very important. But something which is good for you is not good for him. Is relative or is it absolute? There are certain values which are absolute. Killing someone is good for you? No, it's not good for him also. So it's in your life we have to weigh all these things. How can one's daily actions and work relate to one's life values? Why should I practice architecture? Is it my real calling? This is in third year. During third year. Why is today's society the way as it is? What should be my role in it? Why is there so much injustice and inequality in the society? How can one help in the eradication of these social ills? Why do I feel this affinity for nature? Am I not its intrinsic part? Is there an universal energy that resides in all beings and things? How and why does it operate in a certain way? Where do I stand in its scheme? All these questions. How should one lead one's life that will help in connecting one in the best possible way to this universal energy, nature, and to the society, and to oneself, and to oneself. So, so till finally this restlessness caused by these questions reached such a pitch, that I had to pause, I had to stop. And this happened when I was 19 years old, studying in SEPT, and after a lot of thinking I found out that I should take a year's break, 1 year drop from architecture. So I went and told my parents that I would take a drop because these questions are bothering me so much. I need to understand, I need to find answers to these questions. They were a little shocked, surprised. They said, "Are you doing so well in college, school, getting good grades?" And they were scared that if this guy leaves and goes for one, he says it is 1 year, and if he disappears somewhere in the Himalayas or somewhere, the Gaya kam se. According to them, Gaya kam se. And may not have been for me, but for them. We compromised on my coming, not my spending my vacations alone. So one and a half, I would come home. Actually, by the way, my father was the first engineer and architect in Kolhapur, and he had started the firm. Then my brother joined him after doing his master's in structures, engineering. And so I would come that time also during my college days, I would come home, do some perspective sketches, all hand drawn that time, perspective views for my father, make some money from that. One's perspective would cost about 200, 300 rupees, 200 rupees for one. So I would make that money, and with that money I would start my wanderings and ponderings, which you have with you now. Each one of you has that. So that's how the wanderings and ponderings started, and these have been very useful for me and very important for me in my life. Right from the age of 19, I have been spending at least a month by myself in a place where I didn't know anybody, where I didn't know the language also. The first place I chose to go to was Kerala, and the only word I picked up there was, because I used to sit and sketch and draw, was something like padam. All kids used to come around me and padam. So
What does that mean, Bharam?
picture. So they used to call that. So and I used to live on a shoestring budget because I didn't have much money. Whatever I made from those sketches I would use. So it was about 10 to 15 rupees a day I would spend. Sometimes I would sleep on the, sometimes I would sleep on park benches also. I have slept. Like I was invited to speak at a major conference in Goa, and my classmate who was with me in SEPT, he was the principal of the college there. So he introduced me to everybody there. Goa is not new to Shirish. Goa has slept on the park benches and the beaches here. He said, everybody is looking at me like that. So I have slept on beaches. This is me during that time. Walked, we had taken all kinds of transport were used, even a bullock cart or a tonga or things like that. So we started this, and this has been an important period of my life when I was trying to understand the meaning and purpose of life, its structure, its natural laws and its values. It was to try and find answers to the many questions that were popping up in my mind. There was also the desire to understand the workings of a society which appeared so inhuman as well as irrational, and that has become much more today. I mean this is what I'm talking about in 1970, and so it's almost 55 years now, and the social fabric has deteriorated so much, which we would discuss today afternoon session. I would be talking about our state of our society today, because it is very important to understand that, because we are all going to face that and maybe something worse. So what should be our stand in such a society? And there, Milind, and I sent you that poem, my stand in today's society. I am going to read that out, but I am not going to read the end. The end portion, because they are not there in the evening, I am telling them. The end portion is not going to be there. And you will be given this poem. I mean, Dilip, you can poem से हे आणलेत, प्रिंट आउट नाही ना? यू सेंड हे पाठवायला पाहिजे त्याला. कसे पाठवता येते? हाँ, प्रिंट काढून द्या. हाँ, यू कैन प्रिंट इट. वी गॉट अ प्रिंटर हियर. तो प्रिंट करके दे देंगे. देन वन फॉर रूम ऑल्सो इज ओके, आई थिंक. So you have to make your own ending to that poem. That is the exercise. Each one of you will make a different ending with the questions and with the state of society that I have explained there. Each one of you will do that, and we will read that on 25th evening, because tomorrow is going to be something different in the morning. So, 25th or 24th evening or 25th evening we will read it. You keep it ready, and after you read yours, I will read mine. It was my way of looking at things. Not that this is correct or this is wrong, but this is the beginning. And in the final presentation in March, I would like you to read the same big ending, or edit it or modify it. After 3.5 months, maybe you will think of changing it. You will think of changing the ending that you make to this poem. The last few, one or two verses, stanzas, You do that later. So that's the exercise we are looking at. Though this search was initiated as a 2 to 4 week long biennial ritual since 1970, it continues in spirit even today. Though its form and duration has varied, sometimes it is with the family, but even with the family I try to find some time by myself. Later, after my graduation, besides traveling, I also continued this enquiry and search by spending many solitary days at my different retreats in the place of nature, in the lap of nature, which we talked about in the morning, which we will see now also. Nowadays, I take this pause for spending about 6 to 8 days at this lakeside retreat here in Andur, where I can engage myself in designing. Besides this, 1 or 2 longish annual wanderings also contribute to my continuing explorations in life. Many a times during these solitary wanderings and stays, I would also dwell on specific issues of concern such as nature, work, education, sex, marriage, religion, God, money, art, architecture, society, family, sharing, happiness, love, jealousy, hatred, anger, violence, justice, equity. So all these I have dwelt upon them in as deep as I could go, every time during these wanderings, and I've written things about them. And some of the poems are in the book which you have now with you, are almost 50 years old. Like the poem called The Call, it's 50 old, when I was moving around that railway line. And understand their place in my overall life and in my basic worldview. So all these things that I've read about just now, they have a place in each one's life. So we have to find out their context. Then after my graduation from SEPT, I too was in a dilemma. I explored working at Auroville for a short while. There was another option of growing potatoes and baking cakes in Kodaikanal with Dr. Ghosh, which also I opted out, but then that time Dr. Ghosh somehow or the other got stuck up somewhere and he could not come there. So that got fizzled out. I was there for a short while. So after all this, this dilemma and wandering and trying to find out what I should do in life, on my return to Kolhapur, my father called me to his room and offered to send me to USA, because my brother had just come back from USA. So he says, he said, I have the travel money for you. And that time travel money was about 15,000, 17,000 rupees to US and back. And with my background in SEPT, that time too, we had a kind of a recognition with Harvard and MIT. So it would have been very easy for me to get admission then, and a teaching assistantship in SEPT in US. But I told him it came as a surprise for me, but then I told him to wait, let me think about it. So I withdrew for about a fortnight to ponder over his proposal. Then I told him that I would not go abroad. I said, I will not go abroad, but you give me the money. So he says, why do you want the money? So then I told him that I would like to practice architecture, but not in the typical way, the way it is being practiced. So, so with that money, I told him, and what had happened that by that time my heart's 3 true callings were clear to me. We would be talking about 5 of my guiding dimensions in life, or my guiding principles in life on 26th. But today let me talk to you about these 3 were clear to me, that I needed to be with nature and with myself in solitude. That is, these are the 2, with nature, in solitude, and I wish to lead a very, very simple life. Like you've seen my place now. Yeah, I mean, even in Kolhapur, in the city, we sleep on the floor only. mattress, and needs are few. Because the needs are few and I wanted to lead a very simple life, I decided to buy a small piece of land about 55 kilometers from Kolhapur on the edge of the mountains. You know the geography of this place? The Western Ghats, we start from Gujarat, Bombay. They come down and stretch down right into Kerala and down. So these are the Western Ghats. In Maharashtra they are called Sahyadri. So I bought a piece of land at the edge of the mountains in Western Ghats, about a small piece of land, 4,000 square feet or so, because I had whatever money I had to buy the land and build my house also. So with that money, and this was only 55 kilometers away, there were regular buses going and up and down, so I didn't have a car. So I would go by bus, take my drawings there, sit there. But that time I used to spend almost 15 to 18 days at that place. And I would, that means not at a stretch, 3-4 days now, then come to the office, meet my clients, give instructions to the staff, and then again I would go back, like that. I had also anticipated, I was also toying with this idea of, before this thing came out, before the Gaganbauda thing, I was weighing both the proposals, that I was thinking of using that money to buy a camper, but that money was not enough. So the whole proposal fizzled out, but otherwise I was going to make a camper van where today I could park by the lake and stay there for a few days, then I go to the mountainside, stay there, so that kind of thing. It was quite serious about it. I had also started designing the van inside. So I would buy a chassis from somebody and then build this up. So this didn't work out because of the financial constraints. So
on this place is this is like Gaganbauda night. Gaganbauda is the name of the place where I built my first cottage, and when I was your age. I was 23, not 24 complete, 23 and a half. And mine was right at the edge, at the top of the district, not near the guards house. We have a different valley. This is the same road which goes to Gaganbauda. This road, if you are from Kolhapur, if you had not come towards Andur, if you had kept going straight, you go to Gaganbauda and then go down into Konkan, and then you would meet the Bombay Highway. And down, Bombay. So this was the house.
So this is basically one single wall, stone wall. This was added later on after my marriage, because we had a cook, so he cooking and this thing. We had a small kitchenette, small toilet, and a space below here which was open on sides. It was during the construction when it was happening. This is in 1974. That is the wall. It happens like this, and I have an attic on top, which is my studio. That's the house. This is that lower space, we could sleep here, or it could be a living room, or it could be this thing. And this space was so kind of friendly. We had a good wooded area, forest nearby. Even here, we see bisons moving around. They come inside my property here. They come on the lawn also, but now we have fenced it up, so now they don't come. Otherwise, they could come and eat my bamboo shoots. They love bamboo shoots. So a lot of bamboos we have planted, so they would eat that. I'll show you who is to come here later, after 2 minutes. And that was the entrance to this place. All these trees were planted by me, and this was the first parent that I had, during those days, which you saw today. And that's me without the beard. And so I didn't know, I didn't have this photograph. One of my friend who had clicked it then, he sent this photo to me just a couple of years ago, I think, 2-3 years back.
I've never seen this.
No, you have not seen.
He didn't have that.
No, Dilip Joshi. Dilip Joshi had clicked them long back, and when he was going through his old pictures, he saw them, so he sent them to. And this purposely I had made this entrance way like this, like you come from outside to outside, inside and outside. It's a kind of one, so it's a symbolic kind of an entrance, gateway. I never had a bath in the bathroom during the rainy season because the waterfalls and things are so beautiful. This is a recent photograph because even now I sometimes stop the car, get off, change, remove my clothes and sit under the waterfall, get a fantastic massage. It's so good that you almost thank the waterfall before you go. I did that, and we had our own understanding. And these were my colleagues. I shared my space with them. The panther would sometimes bring its kill and sit in that lower area. I would be sleeping upstairs and he would eat, and in the morning I would watch it go like this. Then I had a monitor lizard, living in my false ceiling. It lives here also, in this house also. I don't know why, but the monitor lizard seem to like my houses. Here also they live. Sometimes when it comes down, we see it going, Once it came into the kitchen, Mansi was in the kitchen and she, and then once the baby monitor fell in the bucket, it couldn't come out. And then we had to put a stick there so that the monitor lizard could walk out, climb it and walk out. And this guy had become a good friend of mine. It was a chameleon lizard. Every time I would sit out on the outside kind of a platform and have my milk or breakfast, he would come and sit next to me. Every time he would come and sit next to me, and then of course he wouldn't drink milk, but I would just put a couple of drops on him and all that. Wouldn't move away, just wait. So this kind of life is so wonderful, And in spite of this, what happened was so much learning happened here. And though I lived away from the limelight, because another reason why I wanted to do that was I wanted to stay away from the rat race, the professional rat race also. I was not a part of that. In spite of that, 6 of my works that I designed during that period were published by Inside Outside, the only design magazine then. This was the only design magazine then in 1980. I had not even turned 30. So that was me during that time, Blackbeard. As they published this house, and they published 5 more projects. This is the church. Maybe you can see it when you come to Kolhapur. This is the church which I did in 1975, St. Xavier's Church. It's like a man's journey from a low level of existence to a high level of existence, symbolized by the cross here and the belfry. That's the belfry. This and other retreats of mine have also provided me that necessary pause, break to assimilate, analyze and introspect. Our profession offers us this beautiful opportunity to live and work from anywhere. This is something which I want to stress upon. Don't get into a rut and open office and sort of make your own prison and make your own cage and stay inside.
And live as per the client's expectations, live as per the family expectations, live as per the society's expectations. No, not necessary.
I am telling you from my example. Each one of you has to find out how you want to do it. But as an architect, I have stayed over 15-20 days at the place, and later on, now I am spending about 6 to 8 days here. In between, I used to spend about 10 days, 15 days at my other retreats, which I would tell you. I would work. Like when a client comes to me, I tell him that, okay, take his requirements and okay, I'll see you after a month or see you after 1.5 months. And till then I have my time to work. And there are many jobs happening simultaneously which we work upon.
Now with this I'm happy that Bill
is also trying to change his way of working. A little late, but yes. He is now 53, no? 52. But he is, they have a very well established firm called Synthesis, which was doing my work also, and they have their own major jobs now, big jobs. But he wants to do it in a different way now. So he is coming out of the partnership in a friendly way, amicable way, and let's see now what he does. So this is what we, as architects, I have always worked like this, and I have designed millions of square feet of space, millions and millions of square feet of space. Different parts of India, we've done abroad also. So like this was my workspace in Gagan Bauda. The panther used to come down below, and this was the door we came up on. This was the Jinnah, the steps which brought me up, and it was a trap door. So when we walk up and we open the door like this and put it down and then come up. So it was a trap door, and this was my workplace at Gagan Bauda. That's Mansi, just after our wedding. This was my place at the beach house, from where I could see the sunset in the sea. And all my work has been done like this. It's possible. I showed these slides abroad in some big offices, 150 people in the office and all that. The owners looking at me like that, they say, "Oh, we envy you, we wish you could do it." Or you could have done it. Anybody can do it. It's not, you need to have the guts to come out of your comfort zone. This is my present place, which you saw today in the morning. So today in this digital age, it is even more easy to do that than it was during my time. So this fellowship attempts to put across the unimaginable importance of these pauses in your lives, in our lives. Maybe a few weeks in a year, a day or two in a month, or half a day in a week, or a few minutes, half an hour every day. Can't you spare that for your own self? I am talking about, these are long term things, but then these pauses are important for each one of us every day, every week, every month, every year. Work them out. Or in silence, without doing anything during the day, but without a mobile, of course. We shall discuss the state of the society that we are living in today in order to be able to face it well, which we talked about. This workshop will also dwell on understanding the nature of our learning, conditioning, and the possible ways of learning unconditioning. Why unlearn? Especially when we normally lay so much stress on learning. ये किया, वो किया, MR किया, PhD किया, वो किया, okay. So much stress on learning. Why unlearning? Because with unlearning, I think we can create the desired space for the right attitudes to be born. We can create, with unlearning, we can create the desired space within ourselves for the right attitudes to be born. Like this, like, can you write more on this? Can you create something more on this side? No, because it's already written upon. We need to keep our slate blank many times during our life. So on a blank slate, some new ideas can come, some new things can happen. So in order to have this blank slate, sometimes we must have this pause, we must have these breaks. Probing this, I realized that there are basically two distinct standpoints with innumerable gradations, tones in between them. It is very important as to what standpoint we take in our life, what attitude, and how the attitudes are born from these standpoints. I have realized there are many, and innumerable, but I am going to talk about only two standpoints, contrasting standpoints, which can make or break your world. So, one is, so in order to live a meaningful life, we need to try and find our place in the universe. This standpoint that we take decides our overall values, priorities, attitudes, actions, and their repercussions on this planet. One is when man considers himself as the center of the universe, where he behaves as if all else on this planet is for him. For all natural resources, trees, animals, birds are for his consumption and exploitation alone. This is one standpoint, and this is the Western standpoint, and this has been and why we are here today in this state is because most people have followed this standpoint, where we create places like this, too much consumerism and commercialism, and like Shah Rukh Khan dishing out architecture on a tray. These places are a result of that standpoint. Inequity in society. So much water is being wasted or used for these water parks here, and for one bucket of water, look at this, how many people are. So, this attitude results in greed, selfishness, insecurity, vulgar consumption, corruption, dishonesty, tremendous waste, pollution, inequity, and violence. The general society is caught up in this selfish, greedy, separatist, commercial, consumeristic, man-centric attitude. I call this anthropocentric attitude, it's called, which is man-centric attitude. Thus, all responses, social norms, and teaching is geared towards these objectives, and this is what we learn and by which we live without pinching our conscience and without questioning. So this guy Chico Mendes, he did work on the Amazonian rainforest. He was trying to save them, and he was killed.
By rich cattle ranchers.
Cattle ranchers. You can. मग तसंच सांगत होतं. अच्छा, this one was a Nigerian leader against the petroleum companies.
Arrested under false charges.
And she was also arrested under false charges. Yes. Next. This is Diana Fossey. She was also shot. Lot of work she did with the Rwandan guerrillas. Her efforts gave the
Peaceable apes a second lease on life.
yeah, special lease on life, and she was also shot. कर की पुढे चाल. ते सगळं अक्षर आल्यावर पॉज करत जा. जॉन रूट.
Killed by poachers.
Poachers. Next, African landscape. This is Majhi, B.D. Majhi. Arunachal Pradesh, I think. Arunachal, yes, Arunachal Pradesh. He did a lot of work for the tiger reserve there. He was also killed by poachers. Amit Jetwa, Gir Forest. He worked for the lions there. Just died outside the Gujarat High Court.
By contract killers.
He was killed outside the High Court in Gujarat. Okay, so and this, where is the other standpoint is the universe-centric one, where one sees oneself as an integral part of this fascinating universe, this unity of life, as a very small strand in this gigantic pulsating web of life, in this wonderful world.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright, blessed days, dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colours of a rainbow, so pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Quite simply wonderful.
That was David Attenborough sitting there with the animals. So at this stage I also remember a poem that I wrote when I started living on the mountaintop at the age of 23 and a half, and as your age, around your age, just after my graduation from CEPT, when I used the money that was kept for my post-graduation to build this house and started living here. This was my first rainy season there. my first June and all that. So that's when I wrote this. I sit here in a timeless state, extending myself into the fresh green offshoots of a withered plant, mingling with the raindrops and storing into the clouds in the form of yonder hills. Then I cascade down on my way to later amorphize into soil and dust. I grow dense and shady with the jungles. Soon I am rustling through its leaves in a constant murmur, singing on its branches in a quail's disguise. I color myself into a painting, compose myself into a raga, and sculpt myself into a house. Mingling with various people, sharing their joys and sorrows, I shed my limits to experience the limitless. So when one becomes one with life, every part of life becomes an inspiration. And then compassion, sharing, empathy happens. And greed, honesty, corruption, consumer withers away automatically, and natural, voluntary simplicity and contentedness happens. So during this workshop, a number of issues would be raised by me as well as by you. There would not be and did not be any definitive answers. Each participant has to probe deep into these, himself or herself, come out with his or her understanding and answer to share it and enhances this learning, unlearning. Let us try and be non-judgmental in our attitude, because this entire society, entire conditioning that we have had till now is to be judgmental, to always judge something, judge somebody, judge something, Be non-judgmental. Let us try and be non-judgmental in our attitude, remarks about each other. Myself, along with this wonderful natural setting, are here only to facilitate you and act as a catalyst in the process. So the real question, everything has to happen within you, inside you. So what would be this true introspection and learning? I was trying to find out as to what true introspection and learning is. So true introspection and learning happens when we question everything in life during the silent pauses within us. It is a very adventurous journey within. Simultaneously, it later instills this stillness and silence within us. Introspection and learning happens when there is the ending of fear and sense of insecurity. Lot of our actions in life are governed by this sense of insecurity and fear. तो वो चला जाता है, that should recede. It can happen only when we become vulnerable, open and accessible. Don't shield yourself too much. It is preceded as well as succeeded by mindfulness. This introspection and learning will bring about an acute awareness, taking us back to roots and to voluntary simplicity. It would result in the end of hypocrisy and the beginning of genuine spontaneity. This is another trait that you see in society today, hypocrisy. They would say something on the face just to allow that moment to pass, but they would actually be doing something else. Especially the politicians. It can also be termed as madness, a madness from the society's point of view. It results in shifting our socio-cultural priorities in life. This introspection and unlearning causes a shift from the left brain to the right brain, from knowledge to wisdom. It brings about the courage to be innovative and encourages motivated self-direction instead of compliance and following. It will foster oneness, compassion, empathy with everyone and everything. This introspection would also create a sense of gratitude towards life and instill a harmonious acceptance of life as it flows. Apparently, one may find some of these issues to be paradoxical. After understanding them with clarity, we will realize that truth or spiritual realization is in itself paradoxical in nature. So that you will realize as you proceed in life. During this workshop, we will explore these important highlighted issues, which were highlighted in bold, issues or dimensions in our lives through discussion on each other's experiences and insights, through poems, videos, art, and through silence. You will realize that knowing yourself through introspection is the beginning of all wisdom. It is the beginning of all wisdom. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. It is said that who looks inside, the person who looks inside, it is said that the person who looks outside dreams. The one who looks inside awakes. There is a person called Rollo May. Rollo May says that many people suffer from the fear of finding oneself alone. Many people suffer from the fear of finding themselves alone, and so they don't find themselves at all. Because of that, they don't find themselves at all. Introspective mindfulness is often spoken of synonymously as insight meditation, which means a deep, penetrative, non-conceptual seeing into the nature of mind and world. There is a small video, nothing much, but I thought I would show it to you.
Exercise helps us take care of our bodies. Mindfulness is a skill that keeps our minds healthy. Mindfulness helps us perform at our best and better navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life. Mindfulness is noticing and being curious about what's happening right now. It's the opposite of being on autopilot, when our bodies are doing one thing and our minds are somewhere else, often thinking about the past or worrying about the future. When we're mindful, we engage our senses deliberately and we really take in the things that we can see, smell, hear, taste, and touch. Just as we can build our muscles by going to the gym, we can build our mindfulness muscle through regular practice, known as meditation. All it takes is a few minutes a day to see the benefits. So find the time. Your mind will thank you for it.
So mindfulness is cultivated by assuming the stance of an impartial witness to your own experience. It's very important. In our Hindu scriptures, it's called Sakshi Bhav. That means Sakshi झोपली काय? मला दिसत नव्हतीस म्हणून म्हटलं. इकडे जरा पुढे अशी आलीस तर दिसशील. Sakshi Bhav is Sakshi is to be witness to something. So every time what happens is we look at अरे मेरे को ये हुआ, मेरा ये हुआ, मेरे को ये दर्द हो रहा है, मेरे को ऐसा होता है, मेरा ऐसा है. अरे detach yourself from yourself and look at yourself as a witness, as a Sakshi, through Sakshi Bhav. Then you will see the whole thing in a different way. When I do a painting or when I do a design, I withdraw myself from the design many times and criticize it from a different standpoint. Then I know अरे ये बराबर नहीं हुआ, ये ठीक से जम नहीं रहा, ये नहीं हो रहा. तो अब मैं keep telling them ये नहीं हुआ ठीक, बराबर नहीं, फिर से करना पड़ेगा, change करेंगे. So that way, as a witness, as a Sakshi Bhav, you have to look at yourself. To do this requires that you become aware of the constant stream of judging and reacting to inner and outer experiences that we are normally caught up in, and learn to step back from it. According to Alvin Toffler, have you heard of Alvin Toffler? He was a crazy, not crazy, but he wrote very powerful books. One of his most important books was The Future Shock, but that was written about 40 years back, maybe 40, 50 years back. So,
Some of his stuff is still coming through. By
yeah, still coming. Yes.
70s will become
Yeah.
amazing book.
So he says, Alvin Toffler says that the illiterate of the 21st century, he wrote it in 20th century, but he says that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. Now we call them ये पढ़ नहीं सकते तो illiterate है. He says they will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. This is going to be very, very important in today's times. Maybe in the next January session we'll be talking about AI, artificial intelligence and other things, where you need to have that flexibility within yourself to unlearn what you have learned and again relearn. Otherwise you will not hold your ground in today's world. So every day you must unlearn the ways that hold you back. You must rid yourself of negativity. Why? So that you can fly. We have all seen that the effect of most good talks, presentations on the audience is impressive. I felt that. I've been to a number of, right from J. Krishnamurti to Sadhguru, and there are so many people and so many guys, even architects, What happens is, तभी अच्छा लगता है, you feel good. But then whatever that guy has talked about, it stays in your mind for a day or 2, 3 days. Maybe, and later on again you get into the same routine. So I hope it will not happen this time, because we are having a longer session. 1 week there you have a pause in between for yourself. Again we are going to meet to review and rework on it. So I hope whatever we are going to talk about here and discuss here will have a positive impact or positive influence on you. Whatever, each one's influence, each one's this thing would be different. But don't treat it only for a short while here now, And whatever I have told, there is nothing that I have made up. These are my personal experiences which I am trying to narrate to you, which is some things which have happened to me, something which I have experienced, which I have felt, and which I have tried to live. Sometimes there might have been some problem, but I have tried to live accordingly. So this fellowship is not meant to be just an academic exercise, but something that instills a lifelong process of introspection, unlearning and acting with a vision that is deeply ingrained in life's and one's personal perennial values. I urge you to understand and follow this purpose of our fellowship well. To end this introduction, I shall quote Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau, again another great guy. You must read his Walden. Something which I had written way back more than 100 years ago. Walden. So Henry David Thoreau, he writes, it is only when we forget all our learning, that we truly begin to know.